Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Marnese Live Talk Show, a show where we can talk in an authentic way about social issues and life issues. Tonight, we will continue with our Summer Love series as we will talk to Black women and get their perspective on patriarchy, self-love, and liberating Black women from oppressive society. Excuse me. So tonight we have Evita Parks, Melinda Martin, Crystal Bowman, Ladidra Wilson, and Brittany Wynn. And let's welcome all to the Marnese Live Talk Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Marnese Live Talk Show. Nice to see everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into the conversation. I would love to welcome back Melinda, Crystal, Brittany, and I'd like to welcome Ladidra and Evita to the Marnese Live Talk Show.
Hello.
All right. So to get into the first question, could you all, since we're talking about self-love and liberation of this oppressive society that we live in, and also we will talk about the Black man and our relationship with Black men, and maybe talk about relationships with Black women in a platonic type of way. So I wanted to pop it off. What does self-love mean to you?
I can start.
All right, thank you, Brittany.
No problem. So I would say self-love to me means that I still look in the mirror and say that I am beautiful at my worst. I think it has to be, it can't be just the glitz and glamour when my hair is freshly cut and my outfit is bought. I really think it's waking up in the morning, straight out the bed, looking in the mirror and still feeling worthy and worth it.
Thank you so much, Brittany. All right. So who would like to go next?
My self-love is pretty much the same thing. Like, no matter how bad I feel in the morning or how bad I look, is that like I feel worthy. I say I love myself no matter what. How bad I feel, like how many aches I feel, like how bad it's like, oh my God, I don't feel great, but I still love myself. Even if I'm like my skin might be broken out today, but like I still feel beautiful no matter how my outside my appearance might feel. But my insides, I make myself I feel beautiful from the inside out.
Thank you, Melinda.
I think I would say for me, it would be reminding myself to forgive myself daily. Um, that's
That's
a
good.
huge form of self-love to me because I feel like a lot of times we as humans focus on trying to forgive others, and we are our own worst critics. And I need to say to myself out loud often, Crystal, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay today. It's okay to feel this way. Forgive yourself for this. And for me, that's a form of self-love. It's giving myself that room to just forgive myself for everything that I'm doing that I feel like I should be doing better for. So that would be a form of self-love for me.
I think for me, especially since I have like so many little people here, that I think the self-love for me is taking time to just appreciate and do the stuff that I like to do. And that just to say that I'm still here. I'm more than just a mom. I'm more than just a wife. Like I'm just a woman who sometimes needs to have personal time to myself. And I think that's a part of, I think all encompassing, I think that's a part of just like loving on myself and just is by making time for me.
I think for me, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So for me, self-care is learning how to say no. And no
Mm-hmm.
is a beautiful word that I love very much, that I've grown accustomed to using in the last few years. In all kinds of circumstances, it can be used as an expletive. It can be used as a sentence. Like, it's just an amazing word, because sometimes I think as women, and especially if you're a working mother, or you have things going on in your life, it's like everybody's always coming at you, and we're always expected to do everything. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, if you feel you don't if your kids want to do something, you're tired, and then it's like they try to guilt you, and you're like, and I just learned, like, no, nope, not doing it. I want to buy it. Nope, don't have it. And it's like, I just such a burden release for
So
me, like
liberating.
learning to say the word
Mm-hmm.
no. That's like my word, go to no. No. See how
So,
easy it is? No.
Liberating.
so with the state of the Black community, and um, we need to focus on healing justice and healing from like trauma within the Black community. We see it on TV, we may experience it on our jobs, our kids may face different obstacles in life. So with balancing self-esteem, self-confidence in ourselves, how are you feeling currently about the state of the Black community as a Black woman? Because if we look at past social movements, if we look at the voting turnout, we see Black women turning out and leading these movements, planning these movements, and actually we do a lot with the family. So how do you balance just being a woman with all the state of affairs? Do you have any like anxiety, especially to my panelists with children, even with my panelists without children? How do you guys feel about the future?
I have a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety when this COVID-19 hit. I had a lot of anxiety with the Black community and the police and the videos on social media. I have tons of anxiety. I have two teenage boys, 15 and 16. And I am terrified every time they leave the house. I feel like no mother should feel like that. I have white friends. They don't feel like that when their sons leave, but that's how I feel. Um, I have a ton of anxiety. It goes to work as well. Not too long ago, I got an email from my office manager right after George Floyd was murdered. And she goes, "Happy Friday." Ain't wrong. There was nothing happy about that Friday. She immediately put me in a crappy mood. She just wanted to know how everyone was feeling. I felt like that was the most insensitive email. Her just everything about it was just insensitive. Um, so for me, as a Black woman right now, it's hard. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm not okay. I'm not.
Thank
I
you.
think for me, I feel 50-50. Like I feel frustrated and I feel what Crystal feels. And it's like I feel like I have to go out and do something about it. But I feel like Black women are always the ones going out to do something about it. So I'm also over it and I'm also tired and I don't want to be the superwoman this time and I don't want to save the day. I don't want to be the voice of reason. I don't want to come up with the plan. But then it's like, if we don't, then who does? And then are we all screwed if we don't? So I just feel very 50-50.
I felt that, Brittany. And then to piggyback off what you're saying, it's like also too, it's kind of in a way, it's kind of nice, and even though it took this, all these series of unfortunate events to get that way, it was like Black people are starting to wake up and see things that they never saw before, because it was kind of like we're in this bubble. And so now it's like we're really seeing a lot of systematic racism and white supremacy that we were just blind to it, and now we're starting to see it, and it's like, oh, okay. And then on top of that, when you look at Crystal was talking about email. The thing is that I find it kind of offensive, but it's almost funny. It's like, I think that like a lot of times in this area, people are coming to you like, well, what can I do? And what's going on? And I didn't know. And it's like, it's not my job to be your library. There's Google, there's library. You can Google all that stuff. I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you something that you should have known. That's not my fault. If you really wanted to know, you look up everything else. You look up recipes and TikTok videos and everything else. You can look up stuff about Black history. It is not my job to inform you or educate you about my experience. Because it's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not, no, not going to do it. And I'm not the one to ask. And see, with me, where I grew up in Ohio, and the city I lived in was predominantly white. Like, I always felt like, I wanted to be the nice Black person. Like, I don't want to be the angry Black person. They look at us and we say no. It's like, oh, she's angry. But now it's like, no, I'm not telling you nothing. Go to the library. I'm not putting no book list, nothing. Just like you go on MTV and you listen to all these Black songs and these, never mind, I'm sorry. I forgot we're on Facebook.
No.
Go and Google whatever you need to Google. I am not telling you anything. No, don't ask me.
Like, I get the same thing. Like, I work downtown, and like, I'm so tired of being treated less than, but being better than everyone else. Like, my excellent, like, my average is better than your excellent any day of the week. Like, why do I always have to strive to be excellent? And when you're average, like, your excellent is like less than my average any day. Like, so it's like, and they always ask, like, Melinda, like, how can we do this? Or like, do you really feel this way? I'm like, why? Like, have you not seen all these problems? Like, going, like, we don't have, like, in your company, who in your executive team is African American? Do you have any Black people in your executive team? No. Do you think there's a problem? Think about that. Like, where is the colorism? Like, where is the Black people in your executive team? Change that. Try. Like, when there's always a limit to where you let, like, Black people come. In any, like, corporate America, like, we can get to, like, supervisor, like, manager, but like, once you get to, like, executive team, it's like, nope, you can't come behind the boardroom, and that's where it stops at. And like,
so it's kind of like, it's kind of like we're the worker bees. It's kind of like, you want us to go find the information, bring it back to you. But you don't want us to be on this level, because it would prove, one, that I'm smarter than you, we're smarter than you. Then it would expose the white supremacy culture. I'm just gonna call it what it is.
exactly.
Within the organization. So, Evita, did you have something to say before?
I think I'm kind of with Brittany. It's like, on one side, it's like, I want to get out there and I want to do something, but on the other side, it's kind of like, I need to also protect my peace, right? And so I have kind of been taking a different approach on, what can I do to educate my children? What do to educate my daughters about what's going on, about how people see them. So like we've been doing just like watching different videos, and like today one of my daughters in the 8th grade, we met with Spelman College just to talk about, okay, the world may not see you this specific way. They may not appreciate who you are, but let's venture into how we can walk a path that may be a little bit easier for you, or maybe a little more accepting for you, right? Mm-hmm. And it's sad that we have to think about the world that way, but I also feel like if I let everything just rest on me, am I effective in my household? Mm-hmm. Am I effective, as a parent? And so like I am really torn, like 50-50, like I want to get out there, I want to do something, what's the plan? But on the other hand, I have to protect my peace, mm-hmm. So that I'm functioning in my household.
Yeah, it's about balance, because it's to Ladidra point about you guys just now seeing this, and this is the thing about the Black community. It's kind of like we get complacent. It's kind of like spikes, police brutality been happening for quite a long time. Yep. And so I feel like with our community, Black community, we get complacent because it's kind of like we got to balance our peace, or things are not going to change. And now we're in that moment. Mm-hmm. And so where we can turn and shift how everything is going on in, United States and the world in regards to Black people. So I just really wanted to understand, like, and what could you offer, like, Black women who are in the same situation? About, you gave an example of balance, so did you, Brittany. And I think that's what a lot of Black women are looking for. Heck, I'm looking for that, right? Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you both lifting that up, because they do call on us.
Yeah, I do think they're calling us, and I specifically, Melinda, you spoke to like working harder, at work. I work downtown too. Nice. But in my last position, because I switched position, I know like specifically there was a person who had like no work, and they was getting paid like 10% more than me. I'm like, wait a minute now, hold on. And it was like the work just kept coming more and more on me. And that person be sitting back there. They been walked to Starbucks. They came back, going to Campus Martians, got some beignets, eating them at the desk. And I'm like working really hard, and I'm not understanding, why the situation is. Work. Yep. Why the situation is what it was. And if you don't trust this person to do the work, they came after me. Why are they making more than me? Or why are they here? And so I think it's like, for women, I think like for Black women, we're fighting the battle as women, but we're fighting the battle as being Black first almost. It's like you fighting like two disparities, and people kind of try to quiet you down. To some extent, I sometimes feel like Black men, and sometimes Black women also, once they get to a certain level, play into that.
Oh.
Could be, huh?
Oh, really? Say more about that. Melinda, it looks like you want to go there too. Say more.
Like I've seen it.
I just seen it. It's like I think Black women have this thing with caliber, I think, or it's almost like an elitism mindset, where if you don't fit this mold that I have developed in my mind for how Black women should operate, then I'm going to keep it closed to you and only open it for people who operate in the mindset that I have made up in my mind. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
And so I think that they play into the stereotype because ultimately they want you to be acceptable to the white people above them. And they don't
play by their rules, so they can like try to move up. And then if they don't play by their rules, they try to get rid of you and bring in more people more like-minded than them. Yep.
It's like it's a mold for success. Yep. Like there's this specific mold that you must be.
You have to fit the perfect look. You got to have the straight hair, because you can't have that natural, because they're going to look at you sideways with a natural. I know, because I've had a natural for many years, and I always get looked at like, your hair is cute, but I always get more compliments when it's straight or pulled back.
And it's like, I don't even say thank you. It's like, you know, at this point, you can kiss my entire black ass because I was rocking my fro. And why you didn't say anything about my fro, but you're going to say, oh, your hair's so cute when it's pressed out. Yeah, kiss my entire black ass. I look good with a fro, with a twist out, a braid out, a afro puff.
Braid out.
And don't you dare put me in your box. My hair does not grow out straight. It grows up towards the sun. My skin absorbs that sun. It doesn't burn up. Excuse you, please. Y'all got me hot.
No,
Yeah.
but you know,
So, Ladidra, and then Brittany, did you have a thought?
I did.
Go ahead.
I did to piggyback on what Crystal said. See, I'm feeding off of y'all. Like, that's funny that you said that because I just had a job interview and you know I'm coming into consciousness, but even in that phase, I felt like I had to put on a wig. So I went and bought this bob wig. And I'm sitting at the interview and I'm carrying it up like I'm chocolate Karen. Like, oh yeah, so they haven't seen me like this yet. I just did this on Friday. So when I go to work, everybody will be like, oh my God. But it's like, it's crazy because, you know, people say, oh, it's okay to wear your natural hair at work. If it's okay to wear your natural hair at work, then why are all these states passing these laws saying that you can't discriminate against somebody for their natural hair? You know what I'm saying? And then it's like you hear, and the thing is, you hear a lot of things like, well, you black girls, you want to come to work and you want to wear hair like white women. And what they don't understand is, first of all, most of us don't buy white women hair. We don't know. If you wear a weave, they buy Brazilian or whatever. I haven't worn a weave in years. But the point is, when a lot of times when black women wear weave or wigs to work, it's because we are trying to assimilate, because a lot of times Black people, including Black people, don't feel comfortable with us coming to work like this. This is what we look like. This is how our hair goes out our hair. Now, some of us, our hair is tighter than others. That's okay. But it's almost like, it makes people uncomfortable. And it's like, why is it what I look like, God made me look like? Why does that make you feel uncomfortable? Why do I have to go spend $300 on hair weave to make you feel comfortable? And then why is it that other Black people don't understand that this is something that has been inbred in us since we came over here in 1619, that we're not attractive, we don't look good, and it's like we're just constantly told that we have to submit. It's just been, maybe I've been natural like 11 years, and it's just now probably in the last 5 years it's become more mainstream to look like this. Other time if you wear this, it's ghetto. But if Kim Kardashian or somebody else does, it's like, oh, that's trendy, oh, that's just, oh my gosh, that's just wonderful. But us, it's like, oh no, that's you can't do that.
Yeah, and you said that, and it hurt. It broke my heart the other day. My daughter went on an interview. She's 21. She wears her hair. My daughter has a head full of hair. Her hair is like long and natural and full and thick. And she normally, she's been wearing it like, big bun, like thick, out. And she like straightening her hair. She was like, I was like, you wearing your hair like in a bun? She was like, no, I'm straightening my hair. She was like, I don't know these people. Like, she was like, so she's straightening her hair up. She was like, I don't know these people. I don't, just for the interview. And that's just a matter of just the stigma, because she was like, I can't wear my hair natural to go on an interview because she doesn't know what type of business or if they're going to accept her for her natural hair or not. And it's nice, thick, and curly.
And sometimes it's I was gonna say, and it's such a catch-22, because it's like we as in Black women, natural women, you want to just be yourself and just make people uncomfortable, and they accept it or they don't. But then you also just want to get to the money, because like that's what we're here to do. I'm trying to get to the bag. So it's like, do I want to just go ahead and put the wig on, so that way it's one less thing I have to focus on so I can actually do my job? Right. Or if I don't put the wig on, do I go to work and all day have to deal with these side eyes or these halfway compliments? And this is like, I can't even focus on what I'm supposed to be getting paid to do.
Yeah, she was like, right now I wear my natural after I get the job. She was like, I wear curly after I get the job.
I want to go to the chat real quick because someone has a comment. Hold on for a second. I want to go to the chat real quick because someone has a comment. Okay, Lady Tanya, as As Black women, we are accustomed to taking care of everything. Self-love for my life is constant self-evaluation of people I deal with on all levels. How I respond to potentially conflict and ensuring I take time to do exactly what I want. My peace of mind would not be put in jeopardy because I lose focus on my life. And then Naja, she says some of my worst experiences at work have been with Black female supervisors. So
I can agree with that.
I can agree with that.
I wanted to lift that up because I don't know if it's a generational thing, but I know there's a lot of Black women who are older. They tend to I don't know if it's protect white supremacy culture or is it protecting us from the white supremacy culture because they know we're going to have to go through
those situations.
Hmm?
Do you ever feel protected when you're in those situations?
So
when there is another Black woman in a higher position than you, and she is treating you like you did something wrong to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, sis, like, really, is that what we doing up in here? Like, so I never feel protected in
Right.
those
I don't either.
situations.
I've never
I
been.
feel
No.
protected at all.
No. I could say like I have worked in all white environments. You know, I worked in higher ed for a long time. So at Purdue, Bowling Green, Toledo, it's not a lot of us, you know what I'm saying? And then I came to where I am now. And I can say that my experience has been totally different in the position to where I am now, where there are more people who look like me.
Mm-hmm.
I found that in the white environment, they were more curious about like my hair, like, oh, she bleached her hair again. Wasn't judgmental. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In Black environment, it was more, oh, you come to work like, you know, like it was. I felt like it was more judgment, but it was coming from the women.
Mm-hmm.
And Mel, I see your tracks. What are you talking about? And you're complaining about my natural hair. Looking at all your tracks, but you think this is okay. So I don't know. I think, and maybe it's that, and I find that it's older women, not necessarily the younger ones. And I don't know if they've had the struggles, like all my life I had to fight, so you're gonna have to fight. I'm not sure what it is, but I do feel like my stress level increased dramatically when I transferred. And I had my different struggles at a white environment, but in a Black environment, I feel like my struggles changed drastically under the tutelage of African American women.
Okay. So I wanted to switch to Black women and relationships with Black men, and how we may suffer from patriarchy, sexism, misogyny, and all this is intertwined in white supremacy culture. Okay, have you ever experienced any of these behaviors? Because for our viewers, a lot of women may be trying to figure out how to get through situations like this. I just noticed a lot on social media, there is still a lot of misogynistic behavior. And sometimes it's rooted in traditional, like how men think traditional behavior where men are up here and women are subordinate or submissive, supposed to be submissive. So, and I just want to get your thoughts on that because some men don't think women should be equal to them still. And it's Black men. I'm speaking for Black men specifically because this is about advancing Black men and Black women. Okay, so we can go together and coexist, right?
I think some of that's based on religion, because a lot of times if you go by religion, they say that the man is the head of the household, then it's the woman, and then the children. So a lot of people kind of subscribe to that thinking, and they think that the woman is less than, although we work just as hard or harder, and not only that, we work, we both work. You have kids and you're doing just as much, but because of this religious ideology, we're considered less than. And then it's like, everybody says, well, you're supposed to submit, but they don't read, if you're the person that reads the Bible, they don't read the whole verse. They don't read that part and they stop. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's hard. It's hard to kind of get out of that thumb. It's hard to sometimes find men that find you as an equal, you know. And then sometimes some men are intimidated, like if you make more than them, or if you have a degree and they don't, they feel like you're trying to make them feel stupid or less than, and you're really not. But that's just how they feel because of the way patriarchy is set up. They feel like if you're doing better than them on paper, then you're trying to treat them than they're less than, and they get very defensive when that happens. And so that's like a problem. I don't know how we go about solving that, but that's like one thing I've seen that happens a lot. You know, some men feel very intimidated if they feel like you're doing better than them. They feel like you're like, oh, you're trying to maybe look dumb, or you think you're better than me. But
That's a self-confidence issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think one thing for me, my motto for 2020 has been, it's not on you, it's on me. And I don't know if this can necessarily solve the problem all around, but I think one of the first steps is for us as women to start viewing ourselves as equal first. I feel if we viewed ourselves truly as equal, we would feel that it is just as important for us to do the choosing outside of always being chosen. We kind of allow ourselves to be chosen, and then based on who chose us, we kind of just go with that, even when we know it's not good for us, even when we know it's not worth our time, even when we know it's not a person that's about to elevate us or our situation or our minds, and we go with it because we were chosen. So I feel like men feel this stature, and they feel like with that stature comes the responsibility or the privilege to be the chooser. So once Black women starts to choose, when we start choosing ourselves, we'll start giving ourselves, I think, in my opinion, the leeway to start being choosers and not just sitting back to be chosen.
So I have a question. So I have a follow-up question about that. So when you say choosing ourselves, some men may feel that we are conforming or trying to be like white feminists.
I think men can feel how they feel, because at the end of the day, you're not a woman. And at the end of the day, to me, that's the bullshit that makes us feel like, oh no, are they right? And then we go right back into that submissive role and right back into being the chosen instead of the chooser at the end of the day. I mean, that's just what I'm thinking. You know, I just feel like when you are not doing what a man wants you to do, or he's not hearing what he wants to hear, then there's all of these phrases and labels that's now put on you as a woman to try to make you feel less than.
Anyone have any other thoughts about that?
I do. And the thing is too, it's like, you know, the thing is that Evita was saying, it's like you do have to choose yourself first. We're so busy trying to get chose because we're always being told there's not enough eligible Black men out here. So it's like we're almost conforming so we can get chose. And I have a problem with that. I think that we need to focus on ourselves. We need to be healthy. We need to work on healing ourselves. If you haven't gotten therapy and you had something to happen, you need to go get therapy and work on yourselves. And I think that once you're the best person that you can be, that person that you're looking for, you'll attract them or they'll attract you or whatever, and it's going to work. But a lot of time we spend so many time in these relationships because we're dating people based on their potential and where they are right now let me take that back. We look at people and what we think they're going to be instead of meeting them where they are. If you're meeting somebody and they're at where they're at and they're a bum and you're expecting them to be better than a bum, then sometimes that can be problematic. And we do that a lot. We be, oh, well, he's going to be a good guy. He's got potential. No. Never date for potential. Unless that's the type of person you want, because 9 times out of 10, that person is not going to change. If they're a bum when you met them, they're going to be a bum. And then you're going to wind up wasting your time. So you gotta focus on yourself, be the best person you can be. And I think that when you put out good energy and you're a good person, that energy will attract somebody. But when you sitting around here trying to settle for less than, that's what you're gonna get.
Belinda, Crystal, did you have any thoughts about that? And then
I think you have to make sure that whoever's in your life, they have to be able to, and it goes both ways. They have to elevate you, and you have to be able to elevate them. Like they have to bring something to the table, and you have to be able to give something to them. Like it has to be a give and take. It's not just a give. It's not a take.
Mm-hmm.
They have to edify your life.
Mm-hmm. I think in relationships also, like, people want people to lay down their, like put their guards down, but they don't offer any sense of security. So you out here trolloping all around, but you want me to be docile and you want me to just lay everything down for you. Like, where do we meet? Part of the way. I think that people will fall back in, or because I feel like what they're saying is like we're aggressive. That's what like people are saying. People are only saying aggressive when they feel threatened.
Right.
So if there was a sense of security created in the situation instead of whatever people are doing, I've been out dating for 12 years, so it's been a while.
But I'm aggressive. Like I actually go for what I want. Like I'm not going to just sit back and be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, just choose me. No, like no.
Right.
I'm gonna be like, hey, you cute. Come here.
Yeah, but I don't think they be aggressive like that. I think a lot of men would like somebody to be like, hey, come over here. I like you. I think it's in situations where it usually comes where there's a disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
And people expect us to just be completely docile. Like for me, we used to argue a lot in the beginning, and then I just started not to care about certain stuff. Like, oh, you mad? I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do. But I think that when I felt more safe in the relationship, I think it got easier for us. But I don't think that a lot of times people are creating a sense of safety.
Mm-hmm.
Or expecting women to Ladidra's point, like expecting women to follow, but you don't know how to lead.
You're not
nowhere. Follow you where?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a map. You haven't shown me anything. So I'm supposed to blindly follow you just because of your gender? That's not qualifying enough for me. I need a resume.
Like, where's your roadmap? Like, what are you going to? What is your plan of action? Like, where are we going to go? Like, spell it out.
I can tell you where you're gonna go, because this is where I see a lot with Black men nowadays. You're gonna go nowhere. You're gonna stay in this talking stage because none of them want to really commit, because they want to be able to keep you here, but have something else on the side. I got divorced, so I had to get back into the dating pool, and that's exactly what's there. It is a bunch of old middle-aged dudes that don't want to commit. And they're gonna wait till they're like 50, have extreme ED, and then like, okay, I'm ready to settle down. I don't want to settle down with you. You got high cholesterol, ED, you're old and crusty. I'm good now. I'm not checking for you right now, boo, because it's just that's what the state is with the Black community in dating right now. It sucks. It's below average. It's garbage.
It's hard.
And some say, like, dude, like, what's
you
your?
See this?
And some say at 50, I'm like, what's your retirement plan? Like, what's your 401k looking like? What's your credit score? So those are the questions that I'm asking, because I have a retirement plan. I ain't trying to work all my life.
Right. You want somebody to be able to bring something to your table and not just sit at your table and eat. I need to sit at your table and try to tell you what to do about your table. It's your table, though. So did you?
Can I add in an extra comment that might shift it a little bit, or you want me to hold it?
Go ahead, Brittany, because I was about to shift to another. Go ahead and go.
I just want to say, when it comes to relationships and Black men, date who you want to date, but please stop downing Black women. I think that's the thing. That's the top issue when it comes to dating and Black men. If you want to date outside your race, you want to date a white woman, Hispanic, etc. That's your thing. Nobody is saying that they're against interracial dating. We're against you dogging Black women because you're interracially dating. Like, that's the only issue. That's the biggest issue. And they think that we are upset and we are mad. No. If you want to be a white woman, go do that. But you don't have to say that you're with a white woman because, and everything after the because is negativity towards a black woman. That's a problem. Your mother is black. That's a problem.
That's right. And you know what too, but see, and black women and black men do it. It's like we get so irritated, and we just start, like, we throw each other to the wayside, like, I'm not messing with black men, or I'm not messing with black women because they're da-da-da-da-da. But then sometimes what happens is we don't look at the choices we make and the energy we put out. The reason why you could be getting all bad black men is because that's what you keep picking. That could be what energy you putting out there. The reason why you're getting all black women that you're saying black women ain't shit is because that's the energy you putting out there. We have to be accountable sometimes for the decisions and the choices and the energy that we put out there. And sometimes we don't do that. So it's like we got 2 or 3 bad people. We're just going to dismiss a whole race of people because of a couple of knuckleheads. And, we got to stop doing that. We got to really, sometimes you got to sit back and do a self-inventory. And like when I got divorced, I didn't date anybody for a year because I knew I was screwed up. And I knew I would have probably dated somebody like that. One of those men, what's that movie with the rainbow, the one with those guys that, I forgot the name of that movie. Tyler Perry did it. It was a play. And they had all those different men, all those
For
men.
Color Girls.
Yes, that could have been me. And so that's why I was like, I'm taking a step back. I'm going to get some therapy because I would have easily been that woman that said, okay, all black men are terrible and I'm going to date a white guy. And it's like, I'm not going to give up on, black men. I'm not going to do that because it's not fair to put a whole bunch of black men in there. But there's a lot of black men out here that had trauma or some mama issues or whatever, and they need to go get some therapy. And it's okay.
And I definitely heard
Brittany, I'm going to go to Vita, then I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, I find that a lot of people with platforms, so like people who we are listening to, so like the 50 Cents and all them people, if you look back in their history, they had to come up on a black woman. Like you were struggling with a black woman. You was broke on a black woman. She was working on a black woman. Now you had to come up and you don't like black women no more. And I find that tends to be like everybody who's saying it, you're like, 50 Cent, wasn't you in the hospital and the girl was working 2 jobs and she was black? And now you're like, sir, sit down. I think that is the struggle that I have. It's like, it would be different if when you were broke, you didn't like black women. But now that you have some type of wealth, you have some status to yourself. Now,
degree.
Yeah.
So my thing is, why do black women and black men actually listen to that narrative, knowing that they're not at the same status as these black rappers, celebrities, etc.? Like, why do we continue to listen or get the endorsement from people that we're not even there yet? They don't have the same experiences on the ground as us, as working people, right? They up there, they on something else. So I guess how do we support each other or hold each other accountable, right? Like, how do I hold my sister Melinda or Evita or Brittany or Crystal accountable or tell her like, hey, you need to go get counseling? Like, why can't we just go say that to our friends, right? Why can't we just hold each other accountable?
I think we absolutely can, and I think we do.
I do tell my friends that.
Yeah, my friends can tell me, and I can say it to my friends. I think it just depends on your relationship with your friends, what kind of friends you have or family you have. I can talk very openly with my friends.
But it also depends on how your friend's going to take it. But I would definitely tell my friends, be like, dude, no.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes with those relationships, I feel like sometimes when you tell your friend or you try to self-correct your friend out of love, regardless of what the topic is, they feel like because you are their friend, it's like, girl, whatever, and they're not taking it serious. It's almost like a stranger has to tell you for you to get it. Right. When I'm telling you out of love, it's like, girl, whatever, or they're not taking it serious because of the relationship. And then a stranger will tell you something and you believe it immediately. It's kind of crazy. And I think to that point, to Ladidra's point, I think a lot of, I've definitely heard black women say, like, you know what, black men ain't nothing. I'm about to go ahead and date a white man or whatever the case is. I hear a lot of that more on one-on-one conversations or girls, her friends in a group, versus the opposite of, to me, black men saying it out loud in videos on social media.
Okay.
To me, that's the difference. I don't feel like black women don't do it at all. I feel like it's more of, girl, I can't do this no more, I'm about to go get me a white man, versus the black man that's holding his white queen's hand and making this video about how, I can't, I'm with her because I can't do this no more. You black. It's just like, you made a 20-minute video about this? Wow.
Mm-hmm. But I think it also validates like white people's ideas of black people by saying, oh, the black men don't even like them. Why do I?
Right. Perpetuating white supremacy culture.
I want to go back.
Crystal?
Could I go back a little, Marnese? I just want to go back to the counseling. I think a lot of black women probably can't say things like that to their friends because that's how we've been raised.
Mm-hmm.
Counseling is looked frowned upon in the black community. I hear a lot of black people saying, if I got to go to somebody else so they could tell me how to live my life or be in my relationship, then I don't need to be in it. So they don't look at counseling as a healing tool or something that can fix anything. So that could also be a reason why it's not being talked about amongst girlfriends or just black people in general. I just wanted to bring that up because before we moved on to the black and white issue. Sorry.
Thank you. So what does how would you want the black man to support you? I know, Evita, you are married, Crystal, you're divorced, Ladidra, you're divorced. I mean, what does that look like moving forward? And what could we offer our viewers, with this conversation? I know it's only 6 of us, and so this is like a small focus group, right? So what could we offer people some good advice on what support looks like?
Except
listening.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes what happens is, I think that you have to, the first thing is when you're with somebody and when you're choosing somebody to be with, you have to make sure you're equally yoked. And I know they use that term a lot in church, but that's, I think that's universal, because again, sometimes, like I said, you have a tendency to, as a woman, to meet somebody and be with them based on what you think they're going to be instead of accepting them for who they are. And that causes a lot of problems in the marriage. That's a lot of times why I believe we get divorced, because we have an idea, idea of what somebody's going to be instead of taking them as they are in that moment. And, a lot of times, we don't say things, we kind of keep things bottled up. We're talking about therapy, Crystal was saying that, like, I'm not going to talk to somebody about problems. You have to, because if you don't, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to keep that stuff bottled up inside 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And you see a lot now, you see a lot more women having issues with heart attacks and strokes and things like that. Is because we keep that stuff bottled up inside because we're told not to talk about it. You don't tell your business. You don't tell your business to other people. You keep that stuff in your household. And that's what happens. And that's why you see a lot of women suffering in bad marriages, because they're afraid to talk about it, because you're not supposed to tell your business. So, you have to, and you got to be yourself. You have to put your family first, but you have to put yourself first. And you have to learn how to set boundaries. You have to learn how to talk about things. And I think that was one of the things that in my marriage, I was married for 14 years, and that was one of the mistakes I made. I didn't discuss things that bothered me. I just kind of went along with the flow because I didn't want to upset the flow. And, he made a lot more money than I. So, it's kind of like I just felt like I had to go along with things because he was the breadwinner. But, as time went on and we separated and got divorced, I realized, I was a person too, and I just had to figure out who I was. And, once I did that and, I took a step back and stopped dating, for a while now, it's like I feel like I can come back to the table and be a lot healthier and find a healthy relationship and meet somebody, that's at my level. I don't have to date a fixer upper. You know what I'm saying? Like I can date somebody that's whole just like me.
Mm-hmm. I think that phrase, what goes on in this house stays in this house, is ruining the Black community. I think it's ruining us. It's so many things. And the exact same thing is going on in everybody's house on the block, and nobody is talking about it. It's not just happening in your house. And that's for so many things, all varieties of abuse, physical, sexual, mental, emotional. It's happening to everybody's family and everybody's household. And we are not talking about it. which is, I think, one of the things that's completely steering us away from that therapy that Crystal was talking about, or getting that counseling, because we want to stick by this phrase, what happens in this house stays in this house, and it's killing us. Silence is killing us. At what point do we speak out? We only speak out when it's somebody else's house. That's the only time we speak up. I can't believe such and such is doing this over there, and you just went through that, or your sister just went through that.
Yeah.
And that's called gossiping instead of speaking up.
Yeah. I think to your question, Marnese, about how can Black men support us, I think about in the dating sense, it would be, if you're not in the capacity of love, do not pursue. If you're not in the capacity to love, do not pursue. Because when I think back, when I was dating, it was a lot of people who pursued me, but then when I show interest, they were not in the capacity to love. And it's a waste of time. But then on the other part, if you are in capacity of love, then to pursue with intent and stop wasting
with intent.
Because I think that a lot of people waste people's time and then are in shock when somebody is hurt, or in shock when somebody is in defense. But if you just follow them to pursue with intent, and if you have no intent, do not pursue. I think on the just overall front, it would be for them to support us and to uplift us and to join in the fight for Black women instead of constantly being in the position to tear us down. I was in a dialogue today with somebody, and I'm not sure of the young lady's name. She has a bald head, and the guy posted underneath, she need to put a wig on. Don't no man want to see no bald head woman. I'm like,
are you talking about Tiffany Haddish?
No, she's in politics, senator.
Ayanna Presley. Ayanna Presley.
Yeah.
Ayanna Presley.
Yeah, and I'm like, first of all, is that all you have to talk about in forum? You get what I'm saying? I think it's so many negative things that Black men are saying just publicly, you are not joining the front, you're not joining in our fight for freedom and our fight for equality. Do that.
All right, so I have a question. I want to give a shout out to the chat. Thanks so much, Allison, Mia, Danye, Ashley, for tuning into the Marnese Live Talk Show. I have a question. What does a successful Black marriage look like?
One that communicates. Communicate. You have to constantly communicate. If you do not communicate, that's a problem. That is a problem. Anything, counseling, get counseling. I think that when you're first married, the first year, I think if you can swing it, get counseling. You should get counseling and try to just do maintenance, counseling maintenance. I guess I just made that up totally. But I just totally made that up. But I mean, that's important. And I think that seeing each other as equals, one person should not be, above the other. And it's you pick up where the other person's lacking. If this person's strength is this and their weakness is this, that's where you pick up. You guys kind of feed off of each other, and don't put everything on one person. Everything should not be on one person. But if say for instance, if somebody's working and they're the primary breadwinner, then, pick up on the other things, you know what I'm saying? Just, and try to have time to yourselves. If you have children, try to etch out time for yourself. Don't always just make it about your kids, because sometimes what happens is you put so much focus into your children, you guys kind of forget about each other, and then you start not knowing who each other is anymore because you're so absorbed in your, wrapped up in what your children are doing, you forgot about yourselves.
So I have a follow-up question about that though. Can you do all that and see each other as equal, but also does it work if the man still has the mindset that I'm still the one up here? Can a marriage still work?
That's why you get somebody that you're equally yoked with. You don't mess with nobody like that. If you know that that's going to be a problem for you, then you shouldn't date somebody that thinks that way. I mean, I'm just saying, that's just my opinion. If you can't hang with somebody that sets things up in the patriarchy, you shouldn't even mess with them, because it's going to cause problems later on.
I mean, if that works for that individual woman, right?
Yeah, but if you know that that's not your thing, if you don't, that obey thing doesn't work for you, then honey, that's not the man for you. You need to keep on, because you're going to be down at Oakland County Courthouse and I'm just saying.
Brittany, go ahead.
I heard, that's
I
what
was
I
gonna
heard.
say.
I'm not married and I've never been married, but I do believe one of the things to make a successful marriage work is to actually marry the person you want to marry. And if
Yes.
it's not them, don't. There are so many people married to not the person they actually wanted to marry, whether that was, oh, she got pregnant, so I'm about to just marry her to make her an honest woman. I mean, you kind of already got pregnant before the marriage. So if that's what you believe, you already failed at that point. I'm going to marry this person because, well, he got money. So I'm going to marry him. It's like, that's, you don't really want to marry this person. You want their money. I'm going to marry this person because they look good. I'm going to marry this person because I really want to be married. And the person I really want to marry already got married. Like, I want to marry this person just because I want to be a wife. There are a lot of women out here that just literally wants the title wife. Like, there's so many marriages that's not married because they want to be married. It's so many other things that's happening that it's like a successful marriage can work if you actually like marry the person you genuinely want to marry and make sure they want to marry you for the right reasons. If not, don't get married. You don't have to.
I swear some of these women would marry Freddy Krueger if Freddy Krueger went up to him, right to him, asked him the day, will you marry me? They would marry him just so they could be like Krueger. I promise.
With the nails and all that?
all that. All that they would marry Freddy. And it's just like, I literally see women and I, if there's nothing wrong with being married, but like they literally, that's all they talk about every single day. And they post like engagement rings and dresses. And it's like, girl, you gonna scare a man off because they're gonna be like, that's like, I got my wedding dress picked out and they out there. Nope.
Yeah, I think that a successful marriage actually begins before you even walk down the aisle. I think about there are so many conversations that me and my husband should have had before. Even simple stuff like, what is broke to you? Because I learned that broke to me and broke to him was two whole different things. And I think that when you're in you're getting married and they say you go through the counseling and you just do it as just like, oh, they said I had to, but a lot of people don't even take it serious. Like, let me just answer these questions real quick so we can get out of here and so we can get down the aisle. But I think that really sets up for a lot of different things in a marriage. I think that our first 2 years was very rocky because we kind of glazed over the counseling stuff. We was answering the questions, but we weren't being honest, as in you don't want to scare the person off, right? So if you, and I love my husband, he probably watching this out here, he a hoarder. He like episode of Hoarders, right? And that's not me. But when I came over to his house, it was clean.
Yep.
Now we live together. I'm like, wait a minute. And so I think that in the dating stage, we always want to put up a representative and we're doing a disadvantage to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I want to cook. I want to this. No, you don't. If you don't, you don't. So just be honest.
I don't. I'm telling you, my grandma said, don't do nothing at the beginning that you don't want to do at the end. Don't hand me your shirt to iron it. I'm not going to iron it. I'm just not going to do it because I know I don't want to iron it later.
It's like, yeah, and I think that that was one of, our downfalls. Like, I don't really like cooking that much. Today, it was grilled cheese sandwiches. Enjoy yourself. I don't know. I'm cooked sometimes.
I don't want to do that either.
And I think that if people have those conversations in the beginning, or how do we communicate? How do you communicate when you're angry? What does that look like?
Non-existent for me.
Huh?
That's it. Non-existent for me, because when I'm angry, I'm not talking to you.
Right. And I think that people need to just, I think that is what makes a successful marriage, because sometimes we expect people to change. Nobody's really going to change that much. They're not going to deviate that much from who they really are. So you got to accept them to where they at.
So you really believe that like the pre-marriage counseling does work, and if you really take it seriously?
I think if you take it seriously and you ask like some really hard questions, I think it does, because it gets you in a mindset. And then, but you have to be willing to say, this isn't the person for me. You can't be going through the aisle like, this person sucks. I know this ain't gonna work, but I'm scared.
This person sucks, but we already spent this money, so I just wanted to say to that point, shout out to everybody that's on my live making comments. And somebody had said also not doing things based off of gender roles. So just because I'm the woman doesn't mean, so shout out to Melissa McKinney, that I should have to be the cook, and just because I'm the man, that means that I have to take out the trash. Like, my boyfriend over here making faces, but he prefers to be in the kitchen. I don't. Now, I will cook, because I do believe at the end of the day, you should still feed your man. Somebody will if you don't. Right. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm Betty Crocker and I just want to be in the kitchen, because I don't. So today, he cooked dinner. Thank him. Yes. I don't want to do it. So I will cook, but it's not my thing, and I don't want to feel like I have to do it because of my gender.
Right. So I wanted to... Melinda, did you have anything else to offer before we go to the final question and wrap up?
No, like, I'm good. Like I don't like gender roles.
You like gender roles?
No, I don't.
Wait, can you read this comment right here, Marnese?
I'm sorry, I'm not getting the same comments as you guys are, but you can go ahead and read it.
It says you should always make a man feel up there no matter what, and he will soon turn into the man you want.
Wait, what?
Huh?
It says you should always make a man feel up there no matter what, and he will soon turn into the man you want.
No. I don't believe that.
No, we shouldn't feel up now. Why do we have to? This ain't Build a Bear workshop. Why we gotta build a man, fill him up? I'm not filling him up with nothing. He should already be full when he get to me. I'm gonna need y'all to get y'all life together. I'm not filling up nothing. That was his mama job, to fill him up and to raise him and to show him how to be a man and his daddy. That's not my job. It ain't my job to fill him up and be like, applause for being a man. I'm not getting applause for being no black woman. Where's my applause?
No.
Oh wow! Thanks so much.
She said basically always believe in him. That's what she said. And you should believe. I do agree with
I
that.
can believe it, but it's not my job to try to make him better. No, like
I don't think that
you can believe in somebody as a friend.
Yeah, I don't think that women should be like the house for broken men.
No, I'm not about to try to build you up to make you better. No, I'm not. I'm not about to build you from scratch. No, I'm not about to do that.
Okay, so their vantage point,
come to the table.
So to their vantage point, what happens when they decide to go seek a woman from another race?
By all means.
Okay.
What you gotta do?
That's the argument that Black women is not supportive, or we're not building them up, or whatever. You know, we're attacking their manhood, and so that's why they go date outside of their race.
Okay, so if they want someone if they can't handle a strong Black woman, go ahead, go be with someone that's weak and that they can run over and just do whatever they want to do. Go right ahead.
Can I go back to?
I think this also connects social, like as far as like social status. Sometimes, most of the time, I think other women are in a position to rub your back and coddle you. Black women, we are not. There are so many other things that we have to hold up and keep together, and most importantly, ourselves. We are hanging on by a stitch. We don't have time for that. So if I don't have to worry about going to work to get a check because my father already has it in the bank for me, then I have plenty of time to ride in the car with you and tell you that you're this awesome Black king. Yeah. It's not that we're not doing that for Black men. That's not what we're not doing at all.
Yeah, she says, you turn into his mom after marriage. And I want to say, no, I don't.
No, you're his wife.
His mom, and I am his wife. I am his meat. I am not his mother. I am not your mother mothers you. They iron your clothes, they cook your food, and they prepare you to leave the house. I'm not preparing you to go anywhere. I am preparing you for nothing. We are in this partnership together. We are raising our children. We are parenting our children.
In a partnership together.
We're in a partnership together.
Together to progress.
We are not. My job is not to. I'm sorry, Danya. I understand. I saw it. I was kind of a little triggered. I'm not his mom.
No.
His mother.
I don't want to be anyone's mom. I raised my kid. I'm not trying to raise a grown man.
All right, so to end, can we all just go around and offer what is some advice you can give another woman or a young woman about dealing with oppression on the job, supporting Black men, self-esteem as a Black woman, just being a Black woman in general? Can we go around and just offer our viewers something?
I can say that for me, for work, I would say it would be give yourself balance. Make sure that you have some balance. I make sure that I have balance with work, and I like to cut stuff off. I work in the medical field, so I have to program myself every time I leave that door to not take none of that stuff home with me. Don't take home none of the patients, their attitudes, the what I got to do, what I thought I forgot. Once I leave that door, it's there. Don't take that home. I have to have some kind of balance, because once I leave that door, a whole nother list of battles are going to be waiting on me. I don't need that extra stuff that's there. As far as dating, if you're in a relationship, by all means, love and support your mate, regardless of their race or background. Support them, uplift them, love them. But by no means should you be doing extra for somebody else. Then you're taking away from you to give to them. You know, you can't fill up somebody if you're empty. So that would be my advice to another sister.
Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
I would say do the thing that scares you the most. And the reason why I say that, this is my 1 year anniversary of cutting my hair completely off. And anytime, I love when people ask me, like, why did you cut your hair off? And I love that they ask me, because I love to say that it was my biggest insecurity my entire life, as being a dark-skinned Black girl. My entire life, my hair has been the thing holding me back. My hair has been the thing that made me feel ugly, less than, not enough, not worthy, not cute enough. So I finally decided to grow through that insecurity instead of growing around it. I felt like growing around that insecurity was wearing the weaves, wearing the braids, trying to cover up my edges that I don't have, trying to do this, trying to do that. And I finally decided I'm done. When I was turning 30, I was like, I'm not going into my 30s with this big of an insecurity. It felt childish. It felt like a disservice to myself and my growth. So the thing that I decided to do was the thing that scared me the most, and that was to cut it off and get over it. And when I cut it off, I actually loving it. Yes, I'm cute with my haircuts. I love getting my hair cut. Do the thing that scares you the most, because the road less traveled is always the better road. Always.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much.
I guess I would say two things. I was reading a book called The Healing, and they made an interesting quote, and it says, freedom is in 2 words, yes or no. And so once you realize you have the choice to say yes, you have the choice to say no, then you start to have more freedom. I also think it's about being your authentic self. And I think that goes all in it. If you're working at a place that isn't a fit for you, you have a choice to say yes or no. If you're in a relationship that isn't a fit for you, you have a choice to say yes or no. And you should exercise that choice. And I think that once I realized that, like, I wasn't trapped, because you almost feel like you're in a box and you start feeling suffocated when you feel like you don't have a choice. You have to make these decisions. I think that I started having a lot more peace in my life as a woman, as a Black woman. If you don't like me, that's cool. I ain't got to stay. I got an out. And so I just want people to say you don't have to stay in abusive work relationships. You don't have, because you can have work trauma. I feel like I had work PTSD for a minute. And you can have home trauma, you can have relationship trauma, and you have a choice how you continue to deal with it. And you have a choice of what you let in your life and what you don't.
All right. Thank you. Ladidra,
I think that one of the
live
things.
without fear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would say live without fear and no regrets. I know it sounds really easy to say, but it's not. It's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to remember to always fill yourself up, because you can't help anyone else if you're empty all the time. You always have to edify yourself before you can help anyone else. So always make sure that you're always filled before you even attempt to help anyone else or lend yourself out to anyone, or even be in a relationship. Make sure yourself is always filled.
I think that one of the things too is that's important is just being able to self-reflect and don't feel like you have to conform to people's standards. Like you always want to have your own standards, but don't feel like you have to conform to somebody else's. And don't allow people to judge your femininity. You know what I mean? Like don't let people tell you, judge your femininity, or telling you that you're supposed to be a certain kind of way. You should do what makes you happy. As long as you're a good person and you're happy and you're productive, you shouldn't really care about what other people have to say about you.
Thank you so much. So I want to thank everybody for coming on to the Marnese Live Talk Show. Ladidra, Evita, Crystal,
Yeah.
Melinda,
Thank you.
and Brittany, thank you so much for coming on. And of course, I would love to invite you all back on to the show in the future to have a more in-depth conversation. And so, for my viewers, thanks so much for listening in. And I want to say next week we'll have both Black men and Black women on the show to talk about relationships and working together as Black men and Black women. And so, watch Marnese Live Talk Show next week, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at the Marnese Live Talk Show. So thanks everyone for coming on, and have a wonderful night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.